Do I think you can make money as a freelancer on Fiverr in 2025? Yes. Am I earning all of my income from Fiverr? Yes. Do I think it will be as easy to climb to the top as it was 10 or even 5 years ago, like all the OG freelancers told us it would be? No. Do I still think you should try? Absolutely. Hi, for those who don't know me, I'm Amber Campbell. I am an author and a freelance editor. I write petty, heart-wrenching poetry for the modern woman, and I have been a freelancer specifically on Fiverr for 3 years. And I want to let you guys know that 3 years later, 99% of my clients still come from this platform. So my specialty is what allows me to flourish on Fiverr, but let me give you a disclaimer right now. If you're looking for new Alexandra Fasulo or Georgia Austin, this is not the video or even the channel for you. However, if you subscribe to the DEA mantra of earning what you need, not more than you need, then this channel is right up your alley. So editing client work also strengthens my own writing so that when I publish future books, my writing will be more defined and my editing will be more polished each time in terms of both syntax and style. So without further ado, let's get into my personal success on Fiverr, and if you stick around, I also have 5 tips for you to find your own success on Fiverr. So as of recording this video, and I do apologize for the MySpace angle, this is currently the only place I can put my camera, but I have earned $20,000 after completing 200 orders on Fiverr, and I have done so only through writing and editing services, and absolutely no AI for anybody wondering. In the spring of this year, I faced the dreaded threat that only a corporation can inflict, and I was demoted because I didn't meet their success score metric, which after more than a year, Fiverr still hasn't quite explained how that's created, although I do have some ideas. But alas, I dropped from a level 2 seller, which is the highest level without inputting a manual application, to a level 1 seller. In the 3 or so weeks I sat at this level, I saw maybe 2 jobs roll in. So keep in mind, I still had all of my reviews, so any new clients who found me knew that I had the testimonials to prove my worth as an editor or beta reader, but I still saw a fraction of the jobs I normally see in May. As soon as my metrics bumped back up, as they always naturally do, I was reinstated as a level 2 seller, and within 2 weeks I had 10 manuscript jobs that needed to get done in 3 weeks. So I'm not telling you this as a reason why Fiverr feels impossible, although the inability to control how often we're shown to potential clients is definitely a negative for the platform. But it's because my reaction to it is what allows me to remain on the site and not lose my mind. If you don't know me at all, I quit my 9-to-5 back in March and decided to go all in on my editing and author business. But this hiccup didn't stress me. Why? Because Fiverr's gonna do what Fiverr's gonna do. I knew my metrics would return to my deserved ranking. I knew that as soon as it did, I would be swimming in jobs, and I am. In fact, June of 2025 is the most I have ever earned as a freelancer in the 3 years I've been doing it. And that is following the month after I was demoted to level 1. So during that time, I completely redid all my images, created a new service offering, deleted another one, and updated my FAQs and descriptions. Getting re-promoted and updating all of that within a week span is what pushed me in their algorithm, and I knew it would. I know as freelancers, it's hard to trust the process and trust that clients will find you. I don't DM, I don't cold call, I don't email pitch. I sometimes post about my services here on YouTube or on Instagram, you know, the once or twice a year outside of videos exactly like this. But that's it. I trust that I will find the clients I need to pay my bills. Keep in mind, I don't earn 5 figures a month. If that's your goal, the publishing industry is probably not for you. Ghostwriting, definitely, but that's kind of it. And I mean real ghostwriting, not this generative AI garbage, but I earn enough to pay my bills. Most times, not always, to be completely honest with you. But I took the slow and sustainable path, which is the opposite of hustle culture, and that's okay. You can still be successful on Fiverr, but it's going to take some time. I always recommend posting your services on multiple freelancing platforms, spoiler alert, which is one of the tips I have, to help speed things along. But you're not going to make 5 figures or a month or 6 figures in a year in less time than it takes to blink like you might have been able to 10 years ago. That being said, my background is what brings clients to my doorstep. I offer editorial and reading services for young adult and middle grade manuscripts. I have a BA in creative writing, and I spent 2 years as a YA MG reader for a literary agency. I have since worked with Actually, the scripts is 145 plus clients. It's now 150 as of the time I'm recording in the last 3 years. And for those who are not great at math, that's about 25% of my clients are returning clients, because if you remember the screenshot from the beginning, I have worked with around 200. And again, yes, it took 3 years to get to that number. It takes time. I know you don't want to hear that, but patience on Fiverr is actually rewarded so long as you consistently check in on their algorithm to see what's changed. And I did not forget about my 5 tips to help you succeed on Fiverr. So if you're just starting out, you need to niche down so ridiculously narrowly if you want to land that first client and find the sweet spot in terms of price to convince someone that you are who they need. Daya actually just posted a video probably in the last couple weeks about this. I'll link it down below, why it's not important to stick with the same niche, but it is important to find one and work at it for about 3 or 6 months. For this next section of the video, I'm going to highlight beta reading and book editing, since those are the services that I offer, but all of it can be applied to any sector of freelancing you want to get involved in. So without further ado, let's dive right in. This first tip is actually going to be the Fiverr basics, and I've lumped them all together because I do have a video about it if you want to jump over to that one. But I will give you a very brief summary of it, because if you're really looking to succeed, you may have already heard these, but it's worth mentioning. It's kind of like when healthcare is tell you to drink more water. It's kind of the basis of everything. So it includes basically your photos, your descriptions, your FAQs, your 3 package offers. All of that needs to be done for every single gig that you offer on Fiverr. And if you were paying attention, you will remember that I redid my entire branding on Fiverr, which is something I had not done in 2 years. So it was long overdue. But honestly, that helped boosted me in the algorithm even before they re-promoted me to level 2 seller. And it basically helped ensure that once I was level 2, jobs came in about every other day. So it triggers something in the Fiverr algorithm, even your FAQs. I am not sure why, because that was something I actually learned from Alex Fasulo back in 2023. And if for some reason, if you have at least 3 questions in that FAQs, it pushes you out. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one at all. But also, when it comes to the designs of your photos, of your gig images, I should say, always include a photo of yourself so people know you're a real person. Keep it professional, and always keep the design stupidly simple, because you don't know if they're looking at your image on a computer screen or on their tiny little phone. And if you've got way too many words or way too many design aspects, it's going to be really hard to actually see it and understand what you're getting into. Second tip, include examples and portfolio work. This is a little bit difficult for me in terms of beta reading. So what I do, I kind of let that speak for itself at this point. I got very fortunate with that, but I do offer a 1-page example of like my inline comments for copy editing or developmental editing, just so people can kind of see what that is. But this is very important, especially if you're a new freelancer, because your client has to understand what kind of work they can expect if you don't have the testimonials raving about your expertise. They also have to know how you specifically will fix their problem. This is something you have to remember, is that you, first and foremost, you may be a freelancer, you may be your own boss, but your job is to fix somebody else's problem. So never forget that aspect of your job. So we're not creating a business necessarily, but a service, which I know some people will say the same thing. But for me, we're not creating a product to fix problems, we're creating a service. So we need people to continuously come back to us for that service over time. And if you've got some portfolio work, show that off. If you don't have any, make stuff up. They said this a lot with copywriting, which is write copy like you would for a company you really like and post that, because that's going to show what you can do for somebody else's company. My specialty, as I mentioned, is in young adult and middle grade manuscripts, which lets my writers know the difference between children's literature and adult fiction is what I focus on, and the two are worlds apart. So that also helps me in ensuring that people who are looking for something in a very specific genre, I'm usually one of the first ones that pops up on Fiverr. Also, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button, and if you like me, feel free to subscribe so you can hear me talk your ear off even more. This third tip is going to be niching down and offering multiples of the same job. So let me explain. It's not enough just to read romance or fantasy if you're a beta reader. You need to do YA or MG, urban fantasy, contemporary romance, clean or closed door romance, historical romance set between 1700 and 1856. make it as specific as possible. Romance and fantasy are the two biggest genres in the world. So if you are just offering that, you're really no different than a beta reader who doesn't pick a genre to read. It's not enough anymore. You need to niche down. Offer multiple beta reading gigs. Perhaps you read all romance, but you know what? This is just for contemporary romance. This is for romance novels with main characters above the age of 40. This is for the historical romances set in, Western Hemisphere. Try to make it really unique. Don't niche down to like only romance set in 1985, because that's going to be too specific. But you want to niche down, and you can offer multiples. That way people find you by doing different searches. I did not if I was starting over on Fiverr now, that is what I would do. I would make one just for young adult fiction, just for middle grade fiction. I might even call one like coming of age fiction, just to see if people who look up that instead of young adult, things like that. If you go this route, I would recommend changing the colors of your gig images so that people don't see your face and the coloring and think it's the same job they already saw. If you look at my gig images, every picture is a different picture. That way they'll recognize my face, but it does let them know in their brain that it's a completely different gig offering. Tip number 4 is finding the sweet spot for pricing. $5 is a joke. Don't do it. We are years past that. Beta reading can start at $10 to $30. I believe I started at actually $35. But I also started with 50,000 word manuscripts. A lot of freelancers on Fiverr will say, $10 to beta read, but it's only like 10,000 words. But start out $10 to $30. That's a great price for a full-length manuscript. And if you're an editor, offer a flat rate. So that way when your first client comes in, they won't be mad that they spent $200 on copy edits, because they're not going to find that anywhere else. And yes, you heard that right. My very first copy editing job was for a 50,000 word YA manuscript that my client paid $215 for. And most recently, back in May, I did my first developmental edit of a manuscript, 50,000 words, for $600. For those who are not in this industry, for context, the industry rate for that word count in developmental editing is between $1,800 and $2,400. I am 4 times below that. But first job came in, I got a review, I upped the price to $750, and I'm gonna throw things, I'm so sorry. That is the microphone that's not even on yet. So that did bump me up from 0.012 cents a word to 0.015 cents a word, and I plan to just slowly increase it as I get more reviews on that particular gig, because it is brand new. And that's also something to do. So Fiverr, for example, they do allow clients to favorite gigs that they find that they're interested in, and that will mean that they're kind of watching out for you, seeing how, seeing if they have enough money saved up or what they want to do with their work project, whatever they have. But it will also show them that you're slowly raising the prices, so they should hopefully act sooner rather than later. Finally, my 5th and last tip is go beyond Fiverr. Might sound counterintuitive since this is about success on Fiverr, but you have Upwork, Contra, Freelancer, People Per Hour, LinkedIn. Find where authors are finding book editors and create profiles everywhere. Facebook is still a huge place for authors to find beta readers and editors. So don't assume it'll be overwhelming, because it will take time for momentum to build, and by the time it does, you may have found one site is better for you than another. Build a website and fill it with every testimonial you receive from these sites, so you have 5, 10, 20, and then market the heck out of that on social media. Rely on YouTube, it is the 2nd largest search engine, and create the damn email list. And I also haven't done this, so don't judge me. I now have 160 plus client testimonials, half of which I would use just for reference, because I don't really think the reviews that say Amber is great, would work again, is what I would advertise first. But I'll definitely showcase the reviews that are a paragraph or 2 long that really go into what they loved best about what I did for their manuscript. If your clients have published or posted their projects, depending on what sector of the industry you're in, for me, this would be if my client self-published or if they found a literary agent, depending on the route that they go. Add that to their name next to their testimonial on your website. For instance, if I wrote a review for someone, it could say Amber Campbell, author of The Woman I Hold Dear. If I hadn't yet published, but my review of somebody was really good, they could say or Campbell, fantasy author or fantasy writer. So my potential clients or your potential clients can see what genres you worked on, and they'll have an idea of if you would be the right fit for them. So I will be transparent and say I haven't had success on other platforms because most authors aren't on a lot of the other freelancing platforms. Fiverr still dominates when it comes to beta rating and editors outside of sites like Reedsy, and Reedsy's expensive. They will not let me join as a freelancer on Reedsy. No idea why. Even with all the background I have, they will not let me join the platform. And a lot of authors here on YouTube have said they've had negative experience with editors there because they'll pay $2,000-$3,000 and they will get a fraction of what they would get with someone like me. So, just Fiverr is still really good for authors. If you are in another industry, these other sites might actually work better for you. If you don't already have a fan base, a freelancing platform is, in my opinion, a necessity to get your business off the ground. No one's going to hire you if you have no prior client experience. And you don't have to stay there long. 10 clients. Complete 10 projects for 10 different clients. Post those reviews on your website and your social media pages, and then you can grind for organic traffic and clients who will pay you directly. Don't expect Fiverr to replace your full-time job in 3 to 6 months because that's no longer realistic. It's like the YouTube gurus who say you can become monetized in 3 months from a new channel. Yeah, you can if you have the experience in recording, writing, editing, and market research already under your belt. Most of us don't. Don't compare your level 1 with someone else's level 50. 30 years ago, it was laughable if someone said they'd make a certain amount of money in an unrealistically short amount of time, because sustainable rewards are the result of skill, dedication, and consistency. If you've been struggling with Fiverr metrics, check out my video on their latest rollout to better understand what to do to ensure you're meeting the criteria to level up with the least amount of headaches as possible. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Let's go.